Hello again, everybody. This is Dan Clouser, and welcome back to the Journey My Mother's Son podcast. Once again, joined with my beautiful wife, Sandy, to kind of give a recap of our latest adventure north of the border. Honey, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for leaving me tag along.
No problem. So, as we talked about in the last episode, we went up to Niagara Falls. We left Berks County, Pennsylvania on June 14th. Had to get some stuff done to the RV at Tom Schaefer's, had to get the generator reinstalled. We then stayed at a Harvest Host that night in Hamburg, Pennsylvania, called Daydream Farms, which is a thoroughbred breeder. Awesome experience for any of our full-time RV friends that are out there that are not already members of Harvest Hosts. We definitely recommend that because you get to stay at just some really cool places and experience things that you'll never get to experience otherwise. So that was pretty cool. We got to see some mares and foals and just a really, really cool experience. After that, we went to Knoebels, our first trip to Knoebels, to our Forest River Ownership Group rally at the Lake Glory Campground. And from there we headed north to New York. Talked a little bit last week about the New York side. We did the Maid of the Mist. We did Cave of the Winds. We're on the New York side. Our first 3 days up there. Went to see a Michael Franti concert on Wednesday at Art Park. And then headed over to the Canadian side, which is what we really want to talk about today, is the Canadian side. So, crossed the border on Thursday, spent the day just walking around with Youk, and then checked into we stayed in a KOA up there in Niagara Falls, checked in there Thursday afternoon, and just kind of got a feel for what we were going to be doing the next couple days. So Friday we went back to the falls. We bought a package to do a couple different attractions, tours, and we so part of that package is also the public transportation, the bus service. So there was a shuttle from the campground down to the falls, or really anywhere. We could have rode anywhere we wanted to. So we went to the falls. The first attraction we did was the whitewater walk, which was pretty.
That was awesome.
Pretty amazing. I mean, getting that close to the
right
rapids
there at the bottom.
Yeah, and just seeing the power of that water. I think it was a quarter-mile walk out to the end of the boardwalk area. Quarter-mile walk.
It had been a little more, but
in.
It doesn't matter. But it was a nice walk.
Elevator took us down like 160
Yes.
feet or something like that. But again, just really awesome experience to just see how powerful the water was, and to get that close to it. And the weather was kind of iffy when we started the day. There's a chance of showers, but it was.
But I think it seems like there's always a mist going. I mean, not necessarily a rain, but a mist from the falls, and the wind is taking it and blowing it.
Yeah, it was a little overcast, and then as we were waiting for the bus to head up to the aero car, the Whirlpool aero car, it did start to rain a little bit, but then that kind of cleared out, and I don't think it rained the rest of the day.
And that was our
Thursday.
next attraction, the aero car, which was pretty neat.
Yeah, very cool. We went on a big cable car across the Whirlpool area, which was just.
It was amazing. Actually, it was. Looking at it, I thought, oh, this is going to be, like I can't even explain it, but it was a very smooth ride. It was smoother than plane rides, or you felt like it was just going to jolt a little to start, and it did, but then it was as smooth as anything going across on the cable.
Yeah, it was pretty neat because you didn't have to worry about which side of the car you were on to
Right.
to see which vantage point, because as you went across, once we got to the other end, everybody rotated. So if you were on the left side going across, you ended up on the right side coming back, so you could.
And you didn't get off the car for that. You had to do it when it was
Right.
there.
Right. Well, we were still suspended, so
And there was a tour guide on there to help us. And
yeah, explained a little of the history of it,
yes.
which is pretty neat. So, at that point, it was getting around lunchtime. We were heading back. It was kind of an unplanned spot, but we saw a place where the bus had stopped, and there was a little cafeteria there. I don't even remember the name of it anymore.
It was like a complex. It had other shops there. It was Maple Leaf Place. Then we went into to eat, grab a bite to eat, and it was very good. Actually, Dan, you had your favorite.
I had my poutine. But it was just a little cafeteria style, so you kind of ordered at one spot, picked up another spot.
But it was,
Sandy got chili, which she thought was too spicy, and
it was different. It was a different type of chili than what Pennsylvania type chili is.
we shared a turkey sandwich then as well.
It was good. It was very good and tasty. For the price, it was well worth that.
Yeah. Then we went into the little gift shop area and tried some maple syrup, and everything they had was in glass bottles, which don't travel greatly in an RV. So we passed on buying any maple syrup at that spot. We did get some later on. We actually ended up getting 2 containers of Canadian maple syrup, which we haven't tried yet. We I think we've tried Vermont maple syrup, Michigan maple syrup, West Virginia maple syrup, Pennsylvania maple syrup, and now we've got some Canadian maple syrup in the wings once I finish our West Virginia maple syrup.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all amazing. So after after lunch, we were kind of beat. We did the
next attraction was Journey Behind the Falls.
That's right, we did do that.
Right,
so we went down. Right. So we did that. We did the incline railway. The Journey Behind the Falls was cool, but nothing like Cave of the Winds. I think I was expecting to get a little bit more wet.
Journey Behind the Falls was you actually went through tunnels underneath. You had the rain gear they gave you, and you just had I think it was 3 spots you could go out, and well, actually 2 you couldn't. They just had a gate there, but the water from the falls was just downpouring over the front of that opening of the cave. And then the other one, you actually had a cement platform. You could go out a little bit and get pictures, a close-up picture. We were right next to the Canadian Falls coming over, the water coming over.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, for sure.
We got a lot of snapshots there, beautiful snapshots, because we were down at the base of it.
So that was pretty cool for sure. After that is when we did the incline railway, which is just a little trip up to the top of the hill where there's a shopping district and some hotels and stuff. We didn't really walk around that area at that time because, again, I think that is pushing 3:30, and we were pretty tired, and Youk had to get fed, so we
actually went back to the campground and then came back out again to see the fireworks and the light show.
So we went back on the bus, fed him, and then I don't know what time we came back down to the falls, but it was kind of overcast that night, so the lights on the falls weren't great, but it was still a really cool experience to see that.
Same with the fireworks. It wasn't
fireworks,
clear because of the mist.
Again, very, very cool. We had a late dinner at a pizza shop there. The pizza was really good. It was called My Cousin Vinny's. There's a band playing, which was which was cool. And then we walked around the falls area a little bit, and then just headed back and
Called it a night.
called it a night.
And
Next morning,
that was Saturday.
yeah, Saturday morning,
We had 2 of our attractions to still see because we didn't get to do them. We were just, it was time consuming more than we thought.
yeah, so we did the
Yeah.
power plant and tunnel first. Or no, we did that second. We did the Niagara Fury, which was
It's a creation of the falls. You can't take pictures. You have a raincoat
Yeah.
again, and it's a stimulation type thing.
Simulation, yeah.
Simulation that you actually just hold on to a bar and you're just standing there watching it.
Yeah, before you go into the main attraction, there's a little animated movie talking about how the falls were created over time. And then you go into the area, and it just kind of almost makes you feel as though you're on a raft going through the falls area, which was pretty cool. And then after that, we did the power plant and the tunnel. And that I thought was actually really super cool. I mean, I think was quarter a half mile.
It's 180 feet down from the elevator on the main floor in the power.
Yes, the old power plant that they'd first used to generate electricity from the falls. And there's a tunnel that takes you out to.
It's it's a 2,200 foot underground tunnel that was They did a lot of mining to get that in the 1900s.
Yes, it's pretty cool because you could see a history of the construction, what the workers were paid, what the workers had to go through to get it done, the working conditions, that sort of stuff.
So this was what? This was how long of a walk? It was like
I want to say
almost.
It was like 3/4 miles out and back.
Okay.
So I think it was like a mile and a half or a mile out and back. And again, it was
it was impressive because once you got off the elevator, and just a few 100 feet maybe, all of a sudden it went from comfortable to cold from being under.
Yes, that tunnel was a really neat experience.
Yeah, and that actually, at the end of the tunnel, there was a big area that you could walk, a cement slab, like I don't want to say dock, it wasn't a dock, but you were at the base at the bottom again to get pictures.
Yeah, you didn't get I actually thought we would get more wet from where we were there, but it wasn't.
No, we didn't get wet.
The mist wasn't that overpowering at that location.
No.
But the tunnel was like, 60 degrees as you walk through,
Yeah.
so it was a little chilly.
Yeah.
More for you than it was for me. But even so, on the way back, I left my raincoat thing on
To keep warm.
just to stay a little warmer. But that was a really cool experience. And then after that, I think we just went back to the campground a little earlier so that we could get back in earlier and
See if
go up the tower and see the sunset in there from that high vantage point.
Skyline, I think it was called.
So that was pretty neat. We ate dinner at a little restaurant, Shoeless Joe's, before going to the tower. And again, that was right at sunset, which was really cool. And then from there we walked over to, was it Clifton Hill?
Clifton Hill.
Which is just like a huge kind of street carnival, constant ongoing street carnival.
Amusement, yeah.
They have rides, have a big Ferris wheel that I
that.
would have liked to ride, but we didn't get around to doing it. We did get some ice cream.
It was just like carnival food. Well, they had other places to eat too, but a lot of carnival foods.
Yeah. Very cool. Didn't really get to see the fireworks because we were out in the Clifton Hill area when they went off. We saw a couple of them, but then we were kind of behind some buildings and didn't really get to see them that night. But that was a pretty clear night, and you could definitely see a difference in the lights in the fall when we were up in the tower compared to the night before when it was overcast. So that was definitely a cool experience.
It was.
And after that, we went back to the campsite. It was pretty late. I don't think we got back till almost 11 o'clock that evening. And then
But we crammed. We did. We crammed a lot of stuff in to see. And
probably could have been there another 2 days.
they had
at least.
Yeah, and they had 3 different packages, but we went with the middle one, which it was fine. It was good. It was a good package.
Yeah, I thought it was a good deal. $79 Canadian, which I think came out to like 67 or something US dollars. So it was definitely a good deal for what we got to see. Then when we left Canada, we actually came back into the U.S. in Buffalo because we were going down to see the Eternal Flames Falls in Orchard Park, which is just south of Buffalo.
Right.
Sandy saw it surfing the internet somehow.
Came up on Google as usual.
Yeah, and it's a flame that just keeps burning. It's a natural gas flame. I guess there's 7 of them in the world that are constantly burning, which is just pretty wild. So we got there. Parking lot was pretty full, but we had enough space to park the RV. Got Youk out, hit the trail.
Hiking trail.
It was about a half-mile hike.
At least.
From the parking lot.
Maybe it felt like more because it was kind of rough at spots.
Yeah, it was somewhat challenging.
And it was it was dry, so it was, I can't imagine it if it would have been a regular stream.
Yeah, I mean, we actually hiked right through where the stream should have been. There was still a little bit of water there. So the Eternal Flame Falls, when we got there, wasn't really a fall at that point because of drought conditions. There was no falls. It was just the Eternal Flame, but it was still so cool to see.
Neat.
Just, mind-blowing to think that thing is just constantly burning. I guess in some situations where you get some really high winds, it will occasionally
go out. And then they say just take a cigarette lighter if it's out to light it again.
And lights it up, and it burns, forever. So again, really, really cool. I mean, to think of how nature is like that is just bizarre. So from that point, we started to head back south. We're going back to Knoebels for our annual family trip with our niece and nephew. Matthew and Rebecca stopped in Corning, New York to have pizza, which was recommended by another nephew of ours and his wife. Had some really good pizza there in Corning, New York, and then went down into Williamsport to stay at Cracker Barrel for the night. Got up Monday morning, did some laundry. I mean, I had breakfast at Cracker Barrel, obviously, and then headed down to Knoebels to do our little family outing. Matthew and Rebecca were already there, and some of our family came up to see us on Wednesday night, and then after that it was back to Berks County for a little bit, and then off to
Chincoteague,
Virginia, which we'll save that for another episode. We'll talk about our Chincoteague adventures in another episode. But that was actually a really great trip as well with Lily and Stephanie.
It could have been a little longer, but we deal with what we have.
I think we find that every stop we make could have been a little longer, for sure. So that's kind of a recap of our little jaunt out of Berks County before heading west to Colorado, and stops in between. So we'll give you some updates on those stops here in the next coming weeks. And next time we're on, we'll talk about our Chincoteague adventures. So anything you want to add before we wrap it up, honey?
No, you're good.
All right, so we're going to go have some pancakes here in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia now. So everybody out there listening, be sure to check out my other podcasts and blogs at journeymymotherson.com. While you're there, pick up a copy of one of my books or Youk's book, and we'll see you on the rebound.